This video contains leaked spoiler information from One Piece chapter 1051. The chapter is not officially or even unofficially out at the time of this recording, so proceed at your own risk. Alright, so it is 11:23 a.m. on Wednesday, June 1st, which for American people is that Tuesday. I am ahead of time of you. Well, that doesn't make sense. But I go to all of the trouble to say the things it is that I say because I have a slight problem, which is this. Hello and welcome to Dude in a Room, where Liam got seriously screwed this week. So I have a problem. I have a video coming out tomorrow and I'm posting this tonight because I want to get ahead of this whole situation. But essentially, it's an interview I recorded with Tekking 101 on the 10th of May, the core topic of which was about who is most likely to join the Straw Hats, as well as some other stupid shenaniganry, as I often do. The problem is the title and thumbnail of this interview, which I made 8 days ago, and what I came up with was The Next Straw Hat, featuring Yamato on the thumbnail and Luffy saying, "Join my crew." Now at the time I thought this would be fairly harmless because it's a nice bit of hype, but it's not crossing into the boundary of clickbait, and it's definitely not a spoiler because it hasn't happened yet, or has it? Maybe. That's one of the problems. And in fact, I've done two very similar videos in the past titled The New Straw Hat is Already Here and The Next Straw Hat Has Been Decided. One of which was a general sort of prediction-y discussion video, and the other one was analyzing poll results of who all of you, and maybe not all of you because you're Dude in a Room viewers, but who all of the Grand Fleet members wanted to be the next Straw Hat. But in each case, Yamato was my obvious go-to because that character is by far the most popular. However, I woke up this morning to spoilers from chapter 1051, where allegedly Yamato declares an intent to join the crew. Or maybe not join the crew, but set sail with them. I don't know, because spoilers are usually very vague and frankly unhelpful. For the purposes of this discussion, it really doesn't matter though. What matters is that this video is going to come out not only before the official chapter is released, but also before the scans are released. Which means that people are almost certainly going to accuse me of spoiling a chapter entirely due to a case of extraordinarily poor timing. Because they obviously don't have the context of the production process. They don't realize that I shot this video 2.5 weeks ago, and that the title and thumbnail have been locked in for an awfully long time. Which I suppose does bring up a good question. If I know that this is going to happen, and it is, then why don't I just do something to change it? Well, a lot of that is because art doesn't simply appear out of thin air every time I click my fingers. I wish it did, but things need a bit more time to be planned than that. And I sent my artist this mock-up to bring to life on the 23rd of May, which is just to give you an idea of how far in advance we generally need to plan these things for the things to be done. I mean, my artist is phenomenal, and although she does create magic, she is no time wizard, nor am I. Wish I was. And with the title, it's problematic because the main piece of discussion in that video was who is most likely to join the crew. I mean, yeah, there are some random questions and some stupid games in it, but there's nothing else to really latch on to. And if I did that, you'd accuse me of clickbaiting you because it's not representative of what the actual video is. And in fact, you know what? Here's the really shit part. I'm going to get accused of clickbaiting anyway because a lot of people clicking this video are going to do so thinking that it's chapter relevant, when in reality, it's just a fun discussion between weebs. So this is a very no-win situation, and it's really annoying because if I'd released this video a week ago, then there would be no issues. Nobody would complain about spoilers, and I can tell you that for a fact because these two previous videos with very similar titles, thumbnails, and premises didn't have anyone complaining about spoilers at all. And do you know why that is? It's because most of the people who complain about spoilers are the ones who are actively unaffected by them. It's manga readers who already know what's happening, getting upset on behalf of others, creating victims that don't exist, or at least victims that don't exist in the quantity that they think they do. Which goes back to my whole idea about how a lot of spoilers are only spoilers if you understand the context behind them. People who have read the spoilers for chapter 1051 are going to be outraged because they know that this title and thumbnail is relevant to the chapter. Meanwhile, people who haven't read those spoilers, they're just going to carry on with life as it is, business as usual really, because it's the same sort of generic hype that they see from me and everyone else on a weekly basis. So look, the timing is just, the timing is pretty abysmal, but this does happen every now and then. One other incredibly notable example was when I had a video exploring the history of the sun god Nika, every time they'd been mentioned in the series, and why Luffy is likely an embodiment of said sun god. Now, of course, that video came out the very same week that Luffy's true devil fruit was revealed to be the model Nika, and in this case, my video came out before the official translation did. The video didn't discuss the chapter itself, mostly because I'd written the video 2 weeks beforehand, but look, that doesn't matter, because people just jumped to conclusions and said that I was spoiling the manga. Again, the only people people who did this are the ones who had the context to detect that possible spoiler. They were the ones who already knew the spoiler and were afraid that I was spoiling others who did not know. But in reality, the ones who didn't know didn't have the information to even detect that spoiler. And I hate it because almost everyone who comments something like this says something along the lines of, "Mate, stop spoiling. I feel bad for all of the anime-only watchers or the people who haven't caught up to the manga. You are scum, sir." And I'm just like, don't, because one, they don't need your pity, and two, they're not being spoiled because they don't know what they're seeing, and if anything, you pointing out that this is indeed a spoiler significantly increases their chances of being actually spoiled. And I just think it's kind of sad, really, because these people are wasting their very, very finite time and energy worrying about other people who are overwhelmingly unaffected by the issue you think you are white knighting. Now let's talk a bit more about why I decided to go with this title and No, actually, let's not talk a bit more, ever, because I'm bad at it. Let's talk a bit more about why I decided to go with this title and thumbnail for this video in the first place. Because I can imagine there's a lot of people out there wondering why I didn't call it something like, I don't know, Grand Line Review and Tekking 101 talk about One Piece. Well, the problem with videos like that is it's difficult to sell them as what they are. Grand Line Review has a very well-documented history of videos performing pretty damn terribly whenever they are not directly related to the story elements of One Piece itself. So examining meta aspects of the series, like say the video I did on how big a franchise One Piece is, or even that unboxing video of the very first issue of Shonen Jump that One Piece was published in, stuff like that unfortunately does absolutely abysmally. Most people just don't care about those meta aspects, and hey, that's fine. Most people just want that like solid shot of One Piece straight to the veins, and not all of this meta fluff. I happen to enjoy the meta fluff, but I get that most people don't. So if I wanted to do something like this, which is just, completely unconnected from the core story itself, then I need to make it look like my regular content, otherwise people just will not watch it. I did the same thing with the video I made featuring BDA Law. I just titled it Zoro vs Sanji because one of the main things we spoke about was power scaling and that matchup. And even though that video did not do amazingly in terms of views, it did get a phenomenal response, with the same levels of likes and comments that some of my videos would twice those views receive, which means that the people who did watch it pretty overwhelmingly loved it. I just need a better title and thumbnail to get more people past that barrier. In retrospect, Zoro vs Sanji it's kind of irrelevant to where we are now, and I guess it can also be seen as a bit of a toxic topic. And as much as I love the thumbnail idea of Zoro and Sanji engaged in a fierce pokey battle, it's definitely a bit messy when you look at it in actual thumbnail size. There's just way too much going on, and also it relies on people understanding the out-of-series reference, which even though it's Pokemon and everyone knows Pokemon, not necessarily everyone knows Pokemon, so that's never a great thing. However, the views would have been even worse if I just named it Grand Line Review and BDA Law talk about One Piece, or much worse, power scaling. Like, a lot of the people who did watch it wouldn't have even given the video a chance. But where was I? I got off track. I started analyzing another thumbnail and just got lost. Tea time. Yes, good tea. I think the point is that I needed something hype and something story related to use for this teching video. And in this case, it ended up being so relevant that people, I guarantee you, are going to accuse me of spreading spoilers. Because my video, in this case, is coming out even before the scans come out, and that's very dangerous territory. So I suppose you could call this a very accidental case of future sight. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how the video does, because again, it's accidentally become a hot topic video. But I do anticipate getting a ton of dislikes and comments related to spoilers. Also, fun thing, speaking of spoilers, I recently got roasted on Reddit for my titles and thumbnails again. Different subreddit, but it's exactly what I just spoke about. This thread is more or less essentially a bunch of manga scan readers getting together for a bit of a circle jerk about how scummy I am for engaging in spoiler activity. And I should be fair, there are a lot of very reasonable comments in this thread on both sides of the argument, but then again, there's also some stuff like this. This YouTuber has a talent of talking nothing useful in a 20-min video. He just uses fancy words and adjectives and states the obvious, like someone trying to extend an essay too much. That's right, I use fancy words and adjectives, which are also words. But fair enough, that clearly makes me the One Piece community equivalent of Hitler. Meanwhile, other criticism includes, the problem with this guy is he is taking One Piece lightly and try to make weird, lame jokes. Other YouTubers have such respects for characters in OP. And alright, look, I can't defend the jokes. They are what they are, which is, they're lame as shit. They're so bad. I wish I was better, but it's what I am. However, taking One Piece lightly is, well, it's the thing you're generally meant to do with shonen manga. You're meant to read it and like enjoy it. And I know that enjoyment is, it's a pretty foreign concept to Reddit, but that is usually the purpose of entertainment. But also the OP of this thread had some pretty interesting words. Hope this addresses a bunch of points people brought up. I'm currently very far from sober, so I might rephrase and revisit some of this tomorrow. And I guess I should feel honored that people feel so strongly about me that they're compelled to write intoxicated Reddit posts. And honestly, I do expect more Reddit outrage as a result of this Yamato thing, so if that does happen, at least that could be a fun video too, maybe. And you know what I should probably do? I should probably put Yamato in the thumbnail for this video as well, just to prove a point. I want to know if someone is going to accuse me of spoiling through this video with just an image of Yamato. Maybe the nice shocked one I've got of Yamato going, ah. Nothing about joining the crew though, nothing even close to that. Just an innocuous picture where the only possible way you could interpret it as a spoiler is if you already know what the spoiler is.